and welcome to Gone Your Soul, a Rites and Rituals podcast. That's
Gordon.
I'm Lindy, and we're absolutely delighted to be here and to be chatting to each other and to you. I hope you've got your sunscreen on because I'm looking a wee bit bright today. I've got my Halloween leggings on because this will be going out for Halloween, and because I'm usually in dark colours, and I thought, do you know what, Lindy? Go bright. Go nice and bright. So here we are.
I didn't get that memo.
You're always nice and bright. You're just a wee ball of light. So yeah.
A ball of light?
Yes.
Light, yeah.
And look, I've got two, no one coffee, but two. That's how good it's going to be today, that I'm going to need two. That's how stimulating Gordon's conversation is going to be today, that I'm going to need two loads of caffeine. But how nice that you're here.
Good to be here again.
You're getting used to this, eh?
I know. I found my way, no problem at all. Good.
And we have absolutely no idea what we were going to talk about. We just thought
that makes two of us then. That's good.
We just thought we would have a blather and see what would come up. But one of the things I thought we could talk about, because I'm quite interested in this, is what it's like to be a bloke in this work.
Right.
Because there are more women as celebrants than there are men, right? Is that an advantage or disadvantage? But also, when it comes to spirituality, what does that feel like to be a bloke? Because again, that can be, a lot of guys are like, oh, kumbaya, woo-woo shit, all that kind of.
Yeah.
So I think it just would be really good to hear it from your perspective. So let's start with the first. What's it like to be a bloke in this ceremonial work?
Well, the flippant answer is great because there's lots of women around and lots of nice chat and things like that. What's it like to be a bloke? It's difficult because I don't think of myself as a bloke in the industry, as it were. I'm just in it, and I happen to be a bloke. But that's maybe an easy way out. But it's not difficult by any means, but it is slightly odd. I mean, when I did my funeral training with you all these years ago, there was one other bloke in it.
Who was that?
Ronnie.
Oh, Ronnie Kane. Who's still
and very active, and we keep up.
Yep.
And we've helped each other out a couple of times, which is really good. And
shout out to Ronnie.
Shout out to Ronnie. Thanks, Ronnie. Hope you're back from your holiday. And but it doesn't really the gender thing doesn't really come into it too much. I think in 4 and a bit years, I've only been asked to conduct a service or ceremony because I'm a man twice.
Right.
And one of them was a shout via you from somebody who was had been let down.
Yes.
That happened in a hurry, and the call went out, and I think that was a bit of a panic station. Where's a bloke can do this?
But the guy who had died had said, I want it to be a guy that does it.
Yeah. So, it's fine, and I think I'm comfortable doing a man. Let's talking about funerals. I'm comfortable doing the funeral of a male deceased. Equally comfortable with women, but I don't know. I can't put myself in the body of a woman, doing it. It's the woolly answer.
No. It's absolutely fine. I'm just thinking because men bring different energy to women, right?
Yeah.
They bring that, lovely masculine energy, and women bring that lovely feminine energy. Yeah. And I'm very aware that we're living in a world where, that there's all these blurred lines over. But in my head, masculine energy, feminine energy, and is it different? Does it bring something different? Because I certainly know in the past there have been funeral directors have said to me, "Oh, I had a ceremony. I thought it would be good for you, but they wanted a man." So they've been the family of. And it's been a man's man.
Yeah.
Somebody who's been a man's man wants a man to do it, and that's absolutely, as it should be. It should be what that person wants. But just when we were talking about doing this today, you and I thought, I wonder if it's different. Does it? Because in some ways it must bring a different energy because it's that masculine energy. But how does that manifest itself in ceremony?
Yeah, again, it's difficult because I'm not conscious of my own masculine energy, and I don't know in comparison to other blokes who are not celebrants where I am on that energy spectrum. So, I'm a softie. I cry every time I watch E.T. and DIY SOS. I can't cope with that. And I know women who don't and go, get a grip, that kind of stuff. So I don't know whether I'm not less of a man, but I'm more in tune with the feminine side than the general male population. It's really difficult to assess yourself when naturally we will very, very rarely see others practice.
Yes.
Unless we are.
Yeah.
And I think I'm just trying to think of the last 4 or 5 funerals I've been to, and they've all been led by women, either celebrants or ministers who happen to be women. So it's a difficult one to answer. I think as long as you do your work properly in your research, I watched the podcast with Helen and Marion a few weeks ago, where you get in there and you get to the real spirit of the person and you can articulate that. Then I don't really, if you nail that, if you get the content right, then I suppose maybe it's just a bit of delivery style, but I don't think it really matters what gender you are.
And I know, kind of off topic a wee bit, but when I first started talking about putting together an organisation, the one that became Rites and Rituals, and this was years and years ago, and I was like, I want it to be all women. I want it to be all women because women bring this great energy, and I don't want it to, men to come in, and of course that evolved over the years, and I've kind of grown up a wee bit,
No.
and I'm very, I love the masculine, feminine energy, and they're both necessary. They're both necessary in this world, Father Sky, Mother Earth, and all that. And that's why I was so happy when you applied for the training, because I just knew you would be you and your energy would be such a good fit for Rites and Rituals, and it absolutely has been.
I've felt a natural allegiance, alignment with everybody in it, yourself and Victoria, and the other, 3 students at the time, now ceremonialists. So right from the off, but again, I've said before, I think that's down to the application process. We were all very much like-minded, but clearly individuals, and happily so. And it seems really strange to say, as one bloke in that group of 6, as we went through our training programme, rarely did I feel that I'm the man in the room, or I'm the only one in the room. I was just one of 6 like-minded people who benefited from their energy, and openness. So, difficult, because I'm probably not the type of bloke who goes in and goes, right, here, I'm going to assert myself in any situation.
Yes. And I think my experience of seeing men in this work is that they come across in a more professional way. Right. And by that I mean, what do I mean? I'm watching my words carefully. I don't want to upset anybody. So like me, but just a more performative kind of way. Like somebody would stand up at a business meeting and conduct that business meeting. I think sometimes it can come across like that rather than what you were just saying, that kind of, I don't mean soft, it doesn't always have to be soft,
no.
But that centred, grounded, in the moment, really present energy that we're all trying to bring.
Yep. There probably is something in that. I think I find it easy at the beginning of a ceremony, again, talking primarily about funerals, but to stand there straight. I wear a suit. and it's not hard to look businesslike when you're suited and booted, and you take time and even just a moment of silence and stand straight. That's I don't know. Clearly, all our colleagues are well turned out and dressed professionally, but there's it's easy for me to wear a dark suit. I don't wear a black tie. I wear a dark tie with white spots on it. But it's quite an easy uniform to put together. I don't have to change it.
Yeah.
So and that looks the part. I guess there is that, and even weddings, marriages, kilted. There's still the tie, and I'm a kilt snob, so I'm.
You're in the full thing.
Symmetrical about the central line.
Yes.
And
a kilt snob.
I am a kilt snob, and all my grooms know it. I half dress them. So there is that. I think there's maybe that uniform side, the garb, that makes it a bit easier to hold it. I'm also comfortable in a public setting. Not complacent in terms of what I'm going to say, but I've stood in front of people before and talked, so and got them to shut up before I start talking. There's that. But is that a male thing, or is it just me and my experience?
I don't know. Difference. I mean, I do. My years of training celebrants with the Celebrant training in Scotland, and there were far more women come through than men. But I did notice a theme whereby men, not all men, but some men had a difficulty with the idea of holding space.
Right.
So when we would discuss that and try and encourage them, right, the next time you get up, I just want you to hold the space. I don't really care what you're saying, but I just want you to hold the space. They seem to find that quite difficult. They seem to find it difficult to wrap their head around what was being... And lots of people find it quite difficult to... Until you get it. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It's a bit like porn. You don't know how to describe it, but you know it when you see it, right? Sorry.
I'll take your word for it.
But... so they would just... Their voice would get louder and... Right. They would become... kind of straighter, and when actually that's no what's been asked of people. What's been asked of people is just to be one. Yeah, be one with the room. So I did notice that quite a few men were challenged by that, but at the same time, I'm quite surprised that not more men are drawn to it.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know the. I mean, in general, I've observed that most celebrants have come from a previous life of service. Ronnie, aforementioned Ronnie, hello again, was a police officer.
Police officer, yeah.
I know.
Lots of police officers, lots of teachers, firefighters, doctors, lawyers.
So used to being of service and wanting to help, and I think that's a good, or an understandable motivation, and it's easy to step from that world into this one, or those worlds into this one. The comfort by which then that leads to that role that they had, standing there and holding space and keeping people's attention. It's got to be a bit of an individual thing, but again, I'm not sure it comes back down to gender. I just don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, no, I don't know either. I don't know that we've got the answer to that. I was just wondering how that felt for you in this world when there's so many women, and when we all get together, we do talk all things spiritual and and how that feels for you. So let's talk a wee bit about spirituality. Yeah. And because I think sometimes women find it tough to say, I'm a spiritual being. because they're fearful of they get judged by people, or they don't even know themselves what that means.
Yeah,
I feel connected to something, yada yada. But saying that out loud, even to their own families, can be a rolling of the eyes, or oh, here she goes, here she goes again. So some people are a bit kind of hesitant to put that out there. Is that worse if you're a male?
So strangely, when I couldn't put my finger on the previous question, from gender, I think it worse. I think it's different. And I do find that. I do find it hard. If I'm talking about myself, to say I'm a spiritual being and what spirituality means for me, because I'm still learning it. I don't know
are we all.
Yeah, I don't know what the answer is. But if I'm talking to a family, say, or a couple, for a family to do with a funeral, or a couple to do with a wedding, I find it easier to have a conversation about spirituality. Particularly, again, I've heard you, and we've talked about this before, you might get the call from a funeral director, it's not religious, no religion, no point. And you go and say, so do you think that he's going to be with, so, or she's, be waiting for you? Oh, yes. So there's spirituality there.
Yeah.
And you can tap into that and begin to explore what it means for them. I'm quite comfortable having that conversation and offering the keys to some doors for them to unlock and go through. But me talking about it.
So if you were sitting with your pals and one of them said, oh God, I'm scun at the now, or I've got a pain or something, would you go, well, try a wee bit of rose quartz?
Yeah, no. It's actually, I'm going to meet some of 3 friends from Glasgow tomorrow for lunch, and I'm going to test drive that. Not the rose quartz, but I'm just going to without overtly saying what I'm doing, I'm going to test them on spirituality.
That'd be interesting.
And open up the conversation and see where it goes. They are all friends who were Sunday school kids together, and they've grown up in church in faith, and that may be a challenge if I throw a slightly curved ball. So no, I'm going to give that a go.
Definitely.
But yeah, I do find it uneasy. Difficult's not the right word, but I just feel I don't wear my heart on my sleeve. Typically. Strangely, a one-to-one conversation, I'm happy to talk about anything, but maybe it's just because I'm unsure of my ground and how to articulate it and what it actually means for me. And we have lots of chats in our WhatsApp group and giving each other videos and things like that. And I sent one yesterday, walked out the back door of the house just as the sun was coming up, and there's a rainbow. And I said something, it lasted about 2 or 3 seconds. I said, look, first thing in the morning. And then I was walking the lovely Bonnie, and I thought, oh God, I could have talked about, this and that, and made it a lot more what it actually meant to me spiritually. And I missed that opportunity. I could have gone back on, but
is that not more about the social media thing and, putting stuff on that?
Yeah, a wee bitty, yeah. And because we're just out the back door, she's on a mission, so it was just get this done. But it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. And I met my neighbour, and she was out walking her dog in her Goonie dressing gown, and we started talking about the rainbow, and our son was down at the waterfront in Arbroath, and he was taking pictures of the sunrise and sent something. It was spectacular. But I just kind of withdrew into, oh yeah, it's a lovely rainbow, isn't it? Isn't it beautiful? And rather than what might it mean? And I find that. But again,
is that because we don't know what language to use around it?
Possibly, yeah. But I was going to say there, I don't know if that's a me thing or a bloke thing, but I think I am more typical of the species that men will find it more difficult. And I don't think that's a macho thing. I think it's just I don't want to look weak. It's just it's the vocabulary, the lack of vocabulary and practice.
And not being brought up in that way. I have become the custodian of my grandson's spiritual life. Don't tell their parents I said that, but
I think they might know.
So I think they might know. And my oldest grandson, he started doing like wee handshakes with people, wee funny handshakes. And he's made up one for everybody. So mine's is we kind of do this, and then he does the prayer. And we go, pew, and I just love that. That's how he sees me. But I'm trying to get them comfortable with ceremony, which they are. They would have a ceremony. If there was a dead fly in the windowsill, they would go and get some flowers and put it around it and say, something like, "Oh, sorry you've died, wee fly. Hope you come back again. Hope you had a good life. Bye bye." They'll say something. But I'm trying to make them a bit more comfortable with that kind of language. And Loki will talk about meditating, and I'm not saying they're sitting kumbaya, lotus position on cushions or anything like that, but just trying to make them a wee bit more familiar with that language that we weren't used to, we didn't hear as we were growing up.
It's funny because you use a word that I was thinking of just as you said it there, and it was comfort. And I think it is being comfortable, and I guess it's being uncomfortable that makes us reticent about using the language. And again, it is a use it or lose it thing, or a practice thing. We were all uncomfortable when we first started learning to drive, and now we think nothing of it. So it's that. So what's the 4-stage progression of learning? So you're consciously incompetent.
Oh yeah, and then
consciously incompetent, consciously competent. You end up unconsciously competent. So you just do it without thinking about it. And I think that's, having not thought about it like that before, it's probably where I am. I'm consciously incompetent. Small C.
I think we all are. I think we all are.
But, I need to get to that next stage, or, I would like to progress to that next stage where I become consciously competent.
And I think you go through this stage where you're very aware that you're saying these words and you're using this language that to other people might be a bit, kumbaya. But then you get through that you don't really care. If people, like your language, don't like your language, are drawn to it or not drawn to it. I found out early on, because of course you came in the funeral celebrant training with Celebrant Training Scotland, and it was very sort of practical focused. It was very intense. It was very professional. It was but there was also this wee tiny thread, because you can't help that, because that's who I am, of spirituality, this wee spiritual thread running through it, and it manifested itself in, talking about what it means to hold space for somebody, what it means to go deeper than just, what the words that are on your page, etc. And what I realised was that so many people were drawn to that. So many people were drawn to that side of it. They were like catching on to that wee thread and like, oh my goodness, it's touched something in me. Because I think it touches, if we allow it to, it touches something in all of us, because it's so ancient. It's so ancient. This is just a coming back to what we already know deep within our history.
It's interesting because you talk about the practicalities of it, and I think there's something in there that you've just highlighted for me, is that because we were so well grounded in the practicalities, I knew stuff. And when I know stuff, I can be confident in it. And I think in the realm of spirituality, I don't yet know it. So there's the fear of somebody saying, what do you mean by that? And then not being able to follow up with, I know this, so, and that's back to a confidence thing, or, small I, big I, whatever, ignorance. I need to learn more about it and have the confidence and say it with confidence, but be ready for the follow-up question. I think that's maybe where I am, is that I'm dabbling, but the fear is if I go out there and somebody goes, oh, well, tell me more. Oh, I don't know much more. I don't know that much yet.
And yet, if we take it back to toddlers, my grandsons, if you're walking out in the forest with them, they'll say the most beautiful stuff. The most poignant stuff. And like they're 7 and 4, and they'll go, oh, Nanny, that tree, and the magic of that tree, and the trees are talking to each other, and I think they're talking about that they love each other, and you just go, oh my goodness, that is so beautiful. You don't laugh at them and go,
no.
Well, you don't know the language.
So when do we do that? When do we get conditioned? And I get there probably is a difference there in the male-female side. When do blokes get conditioned to sneer at people being different or thinking different or speaking different?
Well, I think that's part of, the human journey from being a child to adulthood and going to school, and all of a sudden it's about focusing on numbers and learning and reading and this and that, and less, it's better now, imaginative play and all that, and encouraging their imagination, which is hugely important, I think. And I don't think we're still at a place where we should be or we could be, because children are such wee spiritual beings. Their eyes are full of light. My youngest grandson, he's 5 months old, and we were just saying yesterday, we were holding him up in the coffee shop, and we were saying, look at the light in his eyes. He's such a wee spiritual being, and when he learns to talk, he's going to see these beautiful, wonderful, obvious things that we are just, it's like Shakespeare when it's your kid or your grandkid, and then they go to school, and all of a sudden that starts to get funneled, and they kind of lose sight of that. But that doesn't mean to say it's not there; it's still in the periphery, and that's what I think happens to a lot of people in adulthood. They somehow find their way back to that, often through loss or through trauma of some sort that just knocks them off their feet, and they have to reassess everything, and it's almost like you're starting again. But they kind of find their way back to it, or they recognise there's something there and they're trying to find their way back to it, which is what we're all doing, I think.
Yeah, I'm just, as we're talking there, I'm mentally running through other celebrants I know in various spheres, not just rites and rituals, but there's a confidence about being different in a woman that I think spiritually. I think there's a confidence about being different and being comfortable in your own skin, and overtly so, that I don't. There's not many men to see it in, but that I don't see in men
so much.
And it's just that. Okay, fear's too strong a word, but I'm going to use it anyway. Fear of being different, or fear of opening yourself to, ridicule. I've never experienced ridicule in my adult life in this sphere, but there's still this.
There's a wee bit of,
and maybe this therapy session will help me.
I remember when I was doing my interfaith training, and so that was 2 years ago, up and down to London, spending the weekend, one weekend a month, a bit like what we do with Rites and Rituals, but it was for 2 years. And my head tutor was male, and I absolutely adored him, still adore him. I loved the energy he brought to our group. I know so many people didn't like him.
Really?
Just jarred with him for some reason. I could never quite understand that. I don't know if that was a personal thing or their energy and his energy. But while most of the other tutors were women, almost all of them were women. Can't think of one other male tutor that we had. I just thought the energy, and it was a very, I don't even know how you would describe it, but a very kind of secure masculinity. All the white robes, and he was a very spiritual being and talked in a language that, I couldn't even begin to try and emulate. But I just loved what he brought to that journey, that 2-year journey that I took. And when I first started that journey, the word God, to me, I would not have said the word God in anything but negative terms. Right. And I remember towards the end of my journey, doing this classroom exercise, and there was music playing and everybody was doing and you were invited, if you felt called, to step forward and to just, speak your truth. And I found myself at some point like stepping forward into the middle and saying, I am a child of God. And I mean, if you're taking that
from... Did you catch yourself saying it?
Honestly, not till later. Not till later, but it still felt right.
Yeah.
It still felt right. I am a child of God. No God in the Christian sense, but God, the universe, the sacred, God energy, whatever you want to call it. And that was such a powerful, pivotal moment for me to recognise that, you're just this wee tiny speck of light in this huge ball of light. And it was very powerful. But it just reminded me, because Crystal was such an important part of my... he has been such an important part of my spiritual journey. Yeah. And I remember saying to him, because as you know, a lot of my ceremonies are quite funny and uplifting and a bit mad. And as part of that 2 years, the last year, you had to put together a minister's manual, which was, you just filled it full of stuff. You put all your ceremonies in there, because you had to write all these different ceremonies. So you put all those in there, but you were also invited to really create something beautiful with it. And I took it very seriously, and I bought this beautiful big leather journal. Oh, you've seen it, of course. And it's got all wee bits of wood hanging from it, and it's really, and I took my time with it, and mostly handwritten. And then at the end, we had to hand them in, and he took them home, and the different tutors took them home, and they go through them, and then they write you a letter. And a lot of people just bought a plastic folder with some
Polly pockets.
Polly pockets, and just put some printed stuff out for the internet and put it in there. Now, no judgment on them, but to me it was a missed opportunity, because that manual was so important and is still so important to me, because I took so much time over it and thinking what was going in it and thinking about my ceremony, etc. And anyway, he wrote me this beautiful letter, which is in a frame. And it was really nice, and he was just saying, look, after opening so many plastic folders, the joy of finding this and hearing the rattling of the wood and et cetera, et cetera. But then he went on to say something about, and I loved how you reminded me of the sacred smile and how important it is in ceremony, because he'd obviously read through my ceremonies and thinking, oh my God, he's a mental. And he went on to talk about this statue that's in Europe somewhere, I can't even remember, I think it's Switzerland, I think it might be Switzerland, and how this statue is kind of holding up the world, but how he's got this sacred smile in his face to remind us, pretty much to remind us that laughter is every bit as important as, reverence and it was really, that was really important to me, because there have been times where I thought, am I a bit too much? Is this a bit too much? Am I getting the balance right between the two? But that letter that he wrote was a really lovely reminder of it's okay to smile and to have fun.
Yeah, good. So you're talking about your journal there made me think about, we were encouraged and we have got journals. And that's one of the things I find difficult is reflection, self-reflection, and putting that down in paper. And maybe that's where I need to go. And that would be aligns with the nervousness about, being openly spiritual, is that actually you first got to think about it before you can say it. Yeah. So I do find it a challenge to think and then write down, to the extent I haven't done it for a while and I must do it. And you also, talking about his letter to you, also made me think about the letter we were encouraged to write to each other.
Yes, I got mine just recently.
Did you?
Yes.
I got mine a few weeks ago. I think I said something on the thing. I couldn't remember. I didn't even recognise my own writing. So should
we just set that up for people? You tell people.
Well, we were encouraged to write ourselves a letter on the back of self-reflections.
As part of the training.
Part of the training, when we were at the big shed, wonderful big shed. And it was taken from us and posted to us randomly, at random times. We didn't know when it was going to arrive, and I got mine a few weeks ago and opened it up, and it was powerful.
It's very powerful
was
when you
very
see the
powerful.
words that you've written. I was
Yeah.
reading it, I was like,
Yeah.
oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh.
And why should I deny myself that more often when I could just sit down and write, a couple of sentences and do that. It really was, and it was a bit of a prompt, because there was a bit of a transition, as not through just the training, but I always felt wise words, but cut yourself some slack, and it was really, really positive. It took the wind out of my. It completely floored me, because I'd forgotten what I'd written, which was the point of the exercise, I think.
I didn't even realise it was my right handwriting in the envelope. I had
Mine
to open
too.
it up, and I was writing, like, "Dear Lindy," and then I twigged. Oh my goodness! It's
I was exactly the same. I just twigged before I opened it, because I remember when I wrote the envelope, I'd written it upside down.
right.
So I
right.
picked up this envelope addressed to me and went, "Oh, bugger. Yeah. Oh, it's mine. Oh, it's my writing." And then, right, I'm going to have to sit down to read this. It was... So, yeah.
Why do we deny ourselves these beautiful practices that actually affirm who we are and that we matter?
Exactly.
Because in our last podcast, Helen was here, and we were talking about direct cremation and the fact that when you take ceremony away, you are left with, well, nothing really.
Yep.
And the importance of taking time to say to somebody, to kneel by a graveside, to sit in a crematorium, and with everything that's in you, to say you mattered.
Yep. I had dinner with friends last night, and because usually happens when people find out what you do, the conversation went to, they were of an age, it was funerals rather than weddings, and we got to direct cremations and exactly that thing, what's driven that, and they're all of an age where they're now needing to speak to their families about what their wishes are.
Not direct cremation.
Not direct cremation. That was a consensus, thankfully. Well, not thankfully, it's their choice, but there was a recognition, and none of them are on their uppers, put it that way, but there was a recognition that I think there's often a false sense of responsibility to take the financial burden off their loved ones. Yeah. And I think that's also born out of not ignorance, but a false impression that the direct will be much cheaper. And in fact, it's not much cheaper, it's a bit cheaper.
And it's not the ceremony. What we said in the last one, it's not the ceremony, it costs the money, it's everything else.
Yeah, absolutely. And but the value of that saving, or what you're being denied by that saving, way outweighs the financial value.
What was the line you used? Did you not use a line before when we were talking about it?
Oh, was it profound?
It was profound.
It was, yeah. Oh God, I can't remember.
I can't remember, but it was very profound.
Yeah, the cost.
It was something about the cost outweighing, but you said it. You said it in a very poetic way.
Yeah, okay.
A very poetic way.
A moment of weakness. The cost outweighing the financial value or whatever. Yeah. But the cost of not doing it is
it's too great.
Yeah,
it's
far
too
too great.
Yeah.
And I think it is that. And it's a generational thing. I think not least when lots of older people of the bank of mum and dad helping kids or grandkids out with mortgages, university fees and things like that. We are very conscious of cost. It was a cost versus value thing. We are very conscious of cost nowadays, and I think when it gets to that bit, and just allow yourself to be a little bit selfish. Well, it's not actually selfish to you.
No, it's not selfish.
You're denying those you leave behind the chance to grieve, to celebrate, or both.
But if we come back to the male-female thing, I'd like to see more men being drawn to rites and rituals, and I hope as we go forward that we can have more men as part of our wee community.
Yeah, that would be great, because when we're sitting down having a chat, to be able not to do that when the conversation gets to...
Not me. Can I just say it's those others? It's that Victoria, Helen and Marion.
Yeah. And Fiona.
And Fiona, I forgot. Fiona.
Yeah,
no, she's not like that. She's too sweet for that.
Exactly, yeah. She's yet to learn all those naughty words.
Because that's the other thing, we come together, because we talk a lot about ceremony and being community.
Yeah.
It's about communities coming together, whether you're doing a wedding, it's community, or if you're not community. But for us, we're a wee community.
Yep.
And one of the best things is us coming together. Yeah. And of course, we talk about ceremony and ritual and spiritual practice and who's doing this, and they're sharing best practice, and we're trying to learn and we're trying to grow together. But we also have such a laugh and such good fun, and talk an absolute load of nonsense.
And consume the odd glass of wine.
The odd
it's been known.
Glass of wine? The odd glass of wine?
Yeah.
I think I had the Cullen Hotel phoning me when I was away home the last time, saying, there's all these bottles of wine you haven't paid for. We did pay for them eventually. Yes, we did. But, that's every bit as important to us, is that cohesiveness as a group. And there's nothing that anybody could say that would be laughed at, poo-pooed.
We very quickly... Week one, day one of weekend one, came out with the phrase "got your back."
Yeah.
And we live that.
Yeah, we definitely do.
I've benefited from it. I know others have benefited
from it.
We all
have.
Yeah.
For sure. And just now, I'm just checking the time, make sure we're okay. We've got 5 minutes. We have, because we talked in our previous podcast about signs you get from loved ones who have passed, signs from your ancestors, which is kind of the same thing, but from your spirit guides and from the universe itself. And we had an online gathering recently where we talked about signs, the same thing. And then we kind of, not set a challenge, but we decided, because it's Halloween month and this is going to be when the veil between the heavens and the earth is at its thinnest, that we would ask for signs from people. And you've had a sign, very strong sign. Victoria's had a sign. Marion had a beautiful sign. And so we're on WhatsApp saying, you will not believe what happened to me today and yesterday. So yesterday, I was collecting my grandsons from school. We were walking back up. They said, can we go to the Nook, which is a wee coffee shop? And so we walked through the village graveyard, beautiful wee village graveyard to get to it. And my oldest grandson was away ahead, and I was with my wee 4-year-old, and we were walking through, and I had said to my dad, can you send a sign? And he just stopped and he said, Nanny, I have great-grandpa's voice. Well, my dad is his great-grandpa. He only met once in his life when he was just a wee tiny baby. And his name was Grandpa. We all called him Grandpa. No Grandpa or Papa. It was Grandpa. And he said, I have great-grandpa's voice. And I said, do you, darling? You know that way, you're like, wow, and I'm in a graveyard. Could this be any better? And he said, yeah, I hear it. And he said, he either said it's a lovely voice or it's lovely. And I said, oh, wow. I said, and what's great-grandpa saying? And he said, it's okay, Nanny. And I said, oh, thank you so much. Now, I know I can bring that to you guys.
Yeah.
And I don't care if anybody listens and go, well, that's a load of shite, you know. He's obviously heard something, and that's absolutely fine. I don't have a problem with that. But I know that I can take that into the group, and the group's going to go, wow.
Yeah.
Wow, how lovely. Yeah. How special. Because if I see it as a sign, then I know you'll see it as a sign. Yeah. And it's the same way everybody. And that's a beautiful part of our community.
There's an alignment and a cohesion that we've got is it's special. Really is special. Yeah. And it happened very quickly. Just mentally back to that first weekend at the big shed, you know, all nervously arriving, and then within half a day we were on the same page, you know, and we'd coined the phrases that we use a lot, and great group. Yeah. They, in many ways, know me better than people have known me all my life. Yeah. Or know different parts of me better than others.
Other people.
Yeah. Every one of them special.
Which is wonderful. So I don't know that we really have a takeaway from today other than masculine energy, feminine energy, both as important as each other.
Yeah.
We need that beautiful masculine energy. We need that gorgeous, soft, feminine energy, because when they come together, it's just, it's just so perfect and powerful. And so rites and rituals would be nice to have a wee bit more masculine energy. If there's anybody out there who watches these podcasts and comes along to our gatherings and would like to join us, then please reach out. You can have a chat with Gordon and he'll...
It's a very safe space.
It's a very safe space and a fun space.
Very muchly funly.
And a fun space. Well, until the next fun episode, see what I did there. Listen, thank you for watching. Thank you for being here.
Pleasure.
I think Victoria will be back the next time, but we'll see. And as always, go on your soul.
Go on your soul.